Welcome to the This Is Not What I Signed Up For podcast. This is a series of podcasts aimed at new managers, supervisors, and team leads, giving you bite-sized takeaways that you can take in a short space of time. Check out the book of the same title on thisisnotwhatisignedupfor.com or over on Amazon. If this sounds like it's for you, then this is the podcast you signed up for. Let's get our feet wet and learn to swim with today's episode. Hello and welcome to This Is Not What I Signed Up For, the podcast for the new manager teaching you how to swim so you don't sink with your new responsibilities. Now, I'm very excited to bring our guest on today, in Dan Snow. Dan was introduced to me by my last guest, Tara, and I think the chat we had in the initial meeting that we had could have been an episode on its own. I think we went through a whole bunch of different topics there. But he's done some pretty wild and cool stuff, from a 20-foot foosball table, which sounds quite interesting. I'd like to know a little bit about that. And then motion-sensitive mini boards for Five Alive. Tell me a little bit about those.
Oh, Five Alive, Ross. I mean, everyone's childhood favorite. Five Alive was doing a campaign where we were launching ringtones. Remember when you would download a ringtone on your cell phone?
Yeah.
Your Nokia brick? So we had custom ringtones. We had motion boards that would talk to you in the bathrooms, in the men's washroom. There were motion sensitive mini boards, and there were actually like heat sensitive urinal stickers that you could use in a urinal. So it was definitely a pinnacle of my creative career in advertising. For sure.
I love it. I love it. Cool. So, Dan, on the management side, you've built or restructured a $3 million agency and built a whole bunch of teams and strategy and things from scratch. So I'm very happy to have you on, because I think you kind of got an inkling of what you're talking about around the management side. And you now run a full service agency and you help business to business companies grow and tell their story. And one of the things you do is you folks do this remotely, which happens to be our topic today. So, Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So, first question for you, and going on the remote side of things, what is your personal remote work guilty pleasure during the day?
Oh, so as much as I love living in Zoom and looking at my laptop for a large portion of my day, my guilty pleasure with remote work is going out and going for walks, as wild as that sounds. Sometimes on a Tuesday afternoon at like 2:30, when you're in between meetings, it feels like you should be sitting at your desk being a diligent worker bee. But there are definitely moments where, I live next to a conservation area when I'm here in like Waterloo, Canada, where I live. And then I work remotely from different locations around the world for different parts of the year, mostly winter, Canadian winter, I get out of here. So I really try to intersperse going out into the world and having an adventure and just stimulating my mind in a more relaxed and different way in between the meetings and the tasks and the obligations that we all have throughout our days.
I would actually say that is very similar for me.
Mm,
I also love the ducking out for a walk when it really does feel like a little guilty pleasure,
yeah.
even though I don't think it should be.
Mhm. Well, and I'll
I
share about the guilty
yeah.
pleasure piece. Like, what I realized is I used to feel guilty about it. Like, there's a point in time where I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be sitting and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, like a responsible grown up. Um, and then what I realized is I'd be out on that Tuesday afternoon and I'd be walking in the woods, and I'd be like, watching a squirrel run up a tree. And then all of a sudden, this solution to this like this work challenge that I had rolling around in my mind, where all of a sudden, like, I'm not thinking about it, and then the light bulb goes off, and you're like, oh, if I just move this person over here and reallocate that, move that to the right and that to the left, like that solves the problem. And so
Yeah.
I've shown myself that I don't need to feel guilty about it, and taking that time is actually like productive in a different way. So
Mm.
yeah, it's been an interesting exercise.
Do you find it like a little bit of a meditation? Because that's kind of what I have.
Mm.
Like it's that break to think.
Yeah,
And
very much
like
so.
I take our pup out and we go for a walk and throw the ball, and then often, yeah, I agree. Ideas
Yeah.
will come to me.
Yes, absolutely. It's creating space, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
very important. Like I come from consulting background, and I know exactly what it's like for billable hours, and you got to keep going, and it sometimes it's a hindrance because you can't come up with the right solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a topic for a whole other podcast episode
Yes,
sometime.
true.
um, cool. So, like diving into the remote work
Yeah.
side of things, and we discussed it a little bit previously. I've had the benefit that I've been working remotely since probably 2013 or so.
Yeah.
So, you know, transition to working remotely. I battle to remember what my transition to remote work was, but
Mhm.
I think a big shift in remote work. Well, I mean, it's visible. The big shift came, I think, during COVID for folks working remotely and that. So, uh,
Yeah.
in your experience with the remote work side that you guys are doing, how has the landscape changed, sort of prior to COVID to what we're at now, post COVID?
Yeah, in my experience, so for context, I started my career in advertising and in mobile app development, and so I worked at big ad agencies and small ad agencies. I worked at a mobile app development agency for a period of time. Before I started my own company. And now what we do is we're a marketing company for businesses that sell to other businesses, usually with sales teams. So think like construction, manufacturing, like janitorial services, infrastructure, technology. So um, very grassroots kind of infrastructural organizations are who we work with. And so when I was in ad land, as I call it, the only instance I saw of remote work was when I worked at this mobile app development company, specifically in pharmaceuticals, because the pharmaceutical organizations were so global and so funded that they could afford the technology and the travel in order for us to be based in Toronto and our clients to be based in Basel, Switzerland, and Orange, New Jersey, and like outside of LA and California. So that was my first remote work experience pre-COVID, and that was the only instance in which I saw it kind of exist to really like 100% capacity, where we never saw or met the client. We always worked remotely
Mm,
in time zones and all of that stuff. And then COVID happened, and of course, the in person wasn't sustainable. We saw the technology adoption happen even in really laggard industries like insurance and finance, like these institutions, right? And they had to get on board, and so it just, of course, accelerated the adoption. And then it's a lifestyle piece. People were like, "Well, I don't want to go back to work." Like, I don't need to tell y'all listening that the office isn't always our favorite place to be. So the acceptance of it came after the technology was really an
mm.
obligation, and now we live in the world we do today,
Yeah.
where I'm literally on like today I'm on 5.5 hours of calls. Like I'm not even leaving my house until dinner. So yeah, it's been a quick shift.
Yeah, and I think that I want to get onto that tech part a little
Yeah.
later, because I think that's been a thing. But I had a surprise the other day, when I got invited on a call, and I don't want to say the wrong name, but I think it might have been, it was either WebEx or GoToMeeting, and it was something that I haven't heard of in a long
Yes.
time for a meeting. I was like, "Wow, you're still around?" Not to
Let's
slate them
jump
or
on a
anything, but
go-to
like.
meeting. We'll watch some Saved by the Bell. It'll be great.
So, going into kind of the context that you're in now, and like you've got your remote teams, what is your approach to managing remote teams? Like, how do you do it?
It is about, for me, it's about structure in order to create consistent communication channels, because communication channels not only, of course, allow for like awesome work to be done and all of that very important stuff, but it also enables people to connect with one another and build relationships when you're not physically together. And
Mm,
so I'm going to call it like two streams of structured meetings, if you will. The first one are for our business. We have status every Monday. We have monthly touch bases. We have, the things you need to run a business. So we
mm,
have those meetings very structured so that we see each other often. We're communicating regularly about our projects. The second stream of communication we have are meetings so that people can get peer-to-peer support. So the way that the Snow Collective, my company, works is we are a group of freelancers, small business owners, consultants who come together under the Snow Collective brand, and we cherry pick everyone's expertise. So, if client A needs one person with this skill set, we can make that happen. If client B needs 9 people with 9 different skill sets, we can make that happen. And so, with that said, we all work individually. Sometimes these are new relationships, sometimes these are pre existing within the team. And so, we create peer to peer groups so they can talk about their businesses and their challenges. And we do personal and professional check ins and who needs help. So I
mm.
create monthly spaces and where we're not talking about the Snow Collective work, we're talking about you and what's going on with you and how you are, and do check-ins and build relationships really, and build trust and even just like the practice of communication and building it as a habit.
Yeah, I think that one-on-one kind of peer support is exceptional and so needed. The last uh, consultancy that I was in, where I had people reporting into me, we were completely remote as well, and we had those business meetings. That's the general running,
Yeah.
but the one-on-ones and just the how are you as a person
Yes.
went such a long way into like building relationships. The actual like getting stuff done happened from that because there's support and things like that. There's a whole cascade effect of things that happen when you open that communication channel. So like I
Yes.
absolutely agree with you on that.
Yeah, and as we discuss this, the other thing that comes to mind is the other element of not being in an office is there, when you're spending that time together, you're not talking about like the office politics or like that when you're in that environment that takes up a lot of capacity around like within conversation. Whereas when you're dealing with folks like this, we're both in our homes right now, so you experience
Mm,
what's happening in your colleagues' homes. You see cats and animals and people and deliveries and you know what I mean, and the rain through the window. And so like it also, when you have conversation with them, you're also connecting with them about personal things within their lives. So in a way, I feel that it kind of almost fast tracks getting to know someone if you're willing to ask those questions and they're willing to share, because they're in an environment that's like conducive to getting to know them. They're in their own space.
yeah, I mean, for those listening and not watching on YouTube, behind me is my little geeky shrine that I have, which has become such a conversation starter in different meetings. And it's almost like I can vet a client straight away when the client's like, "Oh, is that Battlestar Galactica?" It's like, "Oh, I like you." So all my
You're
little
getting along just
trinkets.
fine.
Yeah, if you're a Trekkie, a Battlestar fan, Kevin Smith, we're getting along very well there.
I love that. No,
um,
mine's the same. I always get the teal wall. I have a teal accent wall behind me, and people, as soon as they get on, they're like, "That color is amazing." I'm like, "Okay, here we go." Like, it's just a nice icebreaker too, right? When you chat for the first
yeah.
time.
But I mean, this kind of leads into the next thing I wanted to ask you, and
Mhm,
we're already hitting on the differences in kind of managing a remote team from managing an in-person team, and the way
mhm,
things change between in office and things like that. Um, when it comes to those differences between in person and online,
mm,
how do the sort of I'm wondering how to word this. How did the sensitivities in dealing with someone
mm.
change? Because I think you don't get that physical contact. In some cases, you might not have video contact. So there's none of the nuances for body language and things like that. So what do you see might be the different sensitivities there from being in person and remote,
Yes,
if that
that's a
question makes
really
sense?
good and interesting question, and I kinda compare moments I've had in my career and experience where I've had to have, say, a difficult conversation in person and I've had to have it digitally. And I find the benefit of doing it virtually is that you aren't there to physically absorb the energy that that person is putting out. Like, I don't know about, like, I'm a very like empathic person. Like, I pick up what other people are laying down and I absorb
Mm.
all of it. And I think about moments where I've had in-person conversations and that person is having like an emotional response, and I can like feel it in my body. Like, I can, you know what I mean? I'm taking it on. And that's just the nature of human connection. And that's what happens when you're in a space. And, you know, and it's the same thing with celebrations. You get the vibe and it's positive. So I think with difficult conversations, in ways it's easier because you're not so physiologically responsive in the environment to have. So it just keeps you cooler. There's less emotional
Mm.
management required because you just take less on. So with that said, on the flip side, that comes with emotional disconnect. So perhaps the person
Yeah.
receiving the message you're engaging with is not, you know, connecting or being met where they need to, or they want to be met, whether that's proper, improper, correct or not, whatever, right? Subjective. So I think that's the trade-off, where it's easier to have a difficult conversation because it's very much encapsulated. You hit go, you hit stop. There's no, now we're going to see each other in the
Mm.
office for the next 3 hours, or like now everyone's going to watch them get walked out. Like, there's none of the circumstance around it. So, you know, it it can make things more transactional as we
Mm.
perhaps see the general like vibe of humanity going. I think this is kind of, I think this enables that a little bit.
Yeah, and just listening to that and thinking through it as well, I think it ties back
Yeah.
again to that communication with your team and like those one-on-ones and things like that. I find it both easier and more difficult to have the difficult conversations with folks when I have a better relationship with them.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sometimes because we have the rapport where I can be honest about your performance was not what we were looking for uh, with this, or what's up, why is this changing, or something like that. And the
Mhm.
rapport lets that happen. But it it makes it more difficult sometimes in that you really get to know someone. You don't want to take them on like that. But yeah,
Of
food for
course.
thought. I think the communication ties into that quite a lot. Um, from that, what you were mentioning, like the walking someone out. What would you say is harder remotely? Hiring, firing, motivating?
For me, the what data tells me is that hiring digitally is most difficult, because again, you don't get that like emotional connection, you don't get that vibe. Not to
Mm.
say that every person I hired in person was a great hire and I kept them on forever, and um but I think it's harder to find the fit and to see the circumstance that they're in. Like, can they physically arrive somewhere on time? Like, how do they present themselves? Like, some of these nuanced elements are missing. And again, you don't have the prep and the commute and the time management and the arrival and the decorum around staff and reception. And like,
Yeah.
again, do you miss the environmental context of a person? Which I believe like is very indicative of who they are. And
Mm.
so
I
that
used to
I
watch for
think
that.
makes it, yeah, like it's hard to hire, right? So it's harder to get to know someone in a multifaceted way.
Mm.
And that gives you less visibility into who they are, which makes hiring more difficult. I don't know. What do
Yeah.
you think? What's your take on that one?
Um, I don't know. Maybe it's the like empathy side. I would battle with the firing side, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and Uh, Thankfully, I haven't had to let anyone go over virtual, except clients,
Mhm.
and that's a lot easier to tell a client to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but I think hiring, I don't know if it's because of the methodology I use. I actually found that what I'd learned in terms of hiring in the corporate space translated really well to hiring in the virtual space.
Yeah,
I do a
me
long hire. I'm a very frustrating hiring manager because I do the 4 interviews, and one of them is really long, but I use something called the top grading method,
mhm.
which is very involved. I kind of scaled it back a bit because in true top grading, I think you need one 8-hour interview or something. It's a bit ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Um, but it really gets you to know someone on various levels from the kinds of questions you ask. So yeah, that's I actually did an episode on it a few months back, which goes into the whole methodology and all of that.
Nice.
So
Quick
yeah,
in the
I
description
think
below, link to that episode.
yeah, sure, I'll send it to you. Yeah, so I think I'd be okay with hiring, but the firing side, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Motivating, I think, comes back to, you know, those conversations. If you're not having those conversations, people are not motivated or
Yeah, I
less
hear
likely.
you. And again, I know it's not specific to remote, but I find hiring is also harder because you don't have the data. Whereas if I'm ending a relationship with someone, it's based on a track
Mm,
record that gives me the knowledge that this is the right choice for the business. So
yeah.
I have like, at least I have a grounding somewhere. Where with hiring, again, you have a whole methodology. So you're collecting data as you're like going through it.
Yeah.
So I just need to tap into to tap into your process. So again, another conversation.
Yeah. uh, cool. So, I mean, flipping this around a bit for a new manager. So, we've spoken about managing your team remotely.
Mhm.
How does it work for you with managing clients remotely? Because I mean,
Mhm.
that's also a function of things. You've got to manage your clients as well.
Yes.
How do you find that works?
Yeah, what the benefit of being remote from the onset, like I have clients that are local to me and I can be in their office, and sometimes I am. And and these are the other thing about my clients is I generally work with people that I like and enjoy and want to spend time with. So when I have the opportunity, it's nice to see them. And so when it comes to the client expectation, we are fully remote already. So they're not phased about kind of what the background is behind us. The only piece that really comes into play is time zones. And so
Hmm.
for me, I mean, I proactively manage my clients' expectations where, hey, I'm going to be working from Europe for 3 months. I'm not going to be as available in the afternoons. My team is, excuse me, you still have access to all of the support staff. And if something is on fire, you have my phone number. But ultimately, like I'm just generally not gonna be available for meetings unless I need to be. And I use tools like Calendly, which is an automated booking software where you set your own availability and then people go in and it matches their availability and you can just it
That,
tosses it in and it mitigates the time zone difference. I see it in in European, they see it in our instance Eastern. So it's these tools where you can set your availability that allow you to be within time zones, and um it doesn't really hinder your
mm,
ability to communicate.
yeah, Calendly is possibly one of the most valuable tools that I've got. That it's
Yes.
just like I 1 year subscription, yes, paid, done. Give it,
Done.
give it to me.
Done. Easy.
It's so valuable. I mean, I work across multiple time zones from Eastern through Pacific, through South
Yes.
Africa, through Netherlands, uh, and it's so great to just like have a link in my signature and people just book in
Yes.
time that works for them. And oh,
And
it's such a time save.
I have this fabulous coach. Her name is Valerie Hall Little. I've been working with her for like 6 years now or something. And she's very much helped me with both operations and leadership mindset and enabled me to like get out of my head. That's the other thing for remote work. If you come from corporate, like get a coach that tells you like, if you want to go work from Bora Bora, like pack your laptop, figure out a plan and go make it happen. Like go live your best life. So that's the other
Yeah.
asset I highly recommend as a coach. But all this to say, I thought when she introduced Calendly, I was like, people are gonna think this is so informal, and I'm like brushing them off to be like, go book your own meeting. Like I come from, we jam for 9 emails until we get like a 30-minute meeting booked. So
Yeah.
and then
A
people
1 week long
love,
doodle poll.
yeah, yeah, the doodles, exactly, haunting my dreams. So all this to say, like, but people loved it. The feedback was fabulous. And then, so you implement things. The other one was Loom. So
Mm,
Loom allows you to screen record while you can video and audio or one of the three or whatever. So it allows you to review documents and take video at the same time. So think walk through a presentation, a scope of work, a sales pitch, even like meeting notes. So I use that, and it allows you to have async conversations that are conversations. They aren't an email. And then it has AI tools that summarizes everything. So these are ways that the client doesn't like feel you're gone or feel you're in a different
Mm.
time zone. And so they're generally not usually they're like, where are you now? Like they're excited to like learn and live vicariously.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's one of the things that it blows my mind about the return to work sort of orders. I'll call them orders that are
Yes.
happening now. I remember once, must have been 2016, 2017, again, when I was already working remotely. Um, but I kind of one day thought to myself, like, how would someone know if I'm sitting at home in Johannesburg or if I'm sitting in Mauritius in a cocktail bar as to what I'm doing? So we got on a plane, we flew to Mauritius, and I only had a 2-hour difference, and I sat there working from a cocktail bar near my hotel. And it was wonderful for a week, and no one even knew I was not at my desk, and it
Yes.
worked fine. And this is what blows my mind with these return to work things is I think it's this grapple for control where it shouldn't really even need to be. And it's like more, in my view, it's more detrimental
Yes.
um, than keeping the remote work. That
Yeah,
personal soapbox there.
no, I hear you. And what I know, what I can say is like I know what works for me, and I know that there are people that want to be in the office 3 or 4 days a week, maybe 5, maybe 7. Some people,
Yeah, that is true.
but
That
like,
is
and
true.
they thrive in the environment, and they need the structure. And again, and like we all come from different, like we're early enough in full technological adoption still in humanity that like we're generational evolution still impacts our the way we socialize and the way we work and the way our guilt and shame and fear mechanisms work. Like I should like optics, right? I need to be seen, I need to be present. Like how do I feel a part of this company if if these boxes aren't checked? So like there it's about creating a new culture where how do we find solutions for individuals so that those people who want and need and thrive in an in-person environment can have access to that, while the people who thrive remotely and are more productive, like it's that they're going one extreme or the other. It's not about how do we reinvent the system so that we can get the most out of each person and create systems that enable them to engage with our business in the way that they choose.
Mm,
That's my
yeah, I like
soapbox.
that. um, I'm seeing that we're coming up on time here. I know we spoke about Calendly and that. Is there any
Yep.
one tool that you think is the best? And maybe it is Calendly. But when it comes to remote work, what is your
Oh,
favorite?
Google Drive. Be
Okay.
Google and Google Enterprise Solutions. We're a Google like built having access to every file on every device. If my laptop spontaneously combusts, I can pick up my brother's and have full access to my server. So remote work, a centralized cloud-based device agnostic server is going to be your BFF as you
Yeah.
cruise through the world. Yeah.
I'm a, I'm a Teams person. Uh,
Well, it's been nice chatting with you, Rob. That's all I'll say about Microsoft products, but yes. But
no, 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 to each his own.
exactly. Again, that's our
uh,
fourth podcast.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dan, we're coming up on time here. I wanted to find out if someone wanted to reach out to you, find out more about what you're doing. Where can they find you?
Oh, the best place, go to our website, snowcollective.ca. You can reach out via email. You can learn all about our company and our beautiful, amazing team. And if you want to connect with me personally, LinkedIn is your best bet, Dan Snow. And those are the two best points of contact. Yeah, say hi.
Fantastic, and those will be in the show notes for our listeners as well, so you can just click on the link. Uh, Dan, thank you so much for coming on here. This has been great. I think there's going to be a lot of value out of this, and yeah, thanks. It's been great having you on.
Thank you. No, this was a lot of fun, Ross. Thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. We'll definitely have to do this again. We've got a whole bunch of
I
topics
think
coming out of this.
so. I think so.
Cool. Well, to our listeners, thank you very, very much for being here. Until next time, keep swimming. Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, give our guests a follow and hit the subscribe button for plenty more content like this. I have a book out covering the types of subjects you've just heard about, available on my website, thisisnotwhatisignedupfor.com, or over on Amazon. While you're at it, sign up for my newsletter to get news about blog posts, e-courses, and new episodes as they're released. If you'd like to get me in to speak to your leadership teams or to coach some of your managers, reach out to me via the website or drop me a line over at LinkedIn. Till next time, keep swimming.